Omar Marmush injury latest as Man City star set for scan ahead of Manchester United derby. Omar Marmush picked up an injury on international duty, and the Manchester City forward could now be a doubt for Sunday's derby. Omar Marmush has handed Manchester City another injury scare ahead of Sunday's Etihad derby with Manchester United after injuring his knee on international duty. The 26-year-old picked up the injury just 4 minutes into Egypt's World Cup qualifier in Burkina Faso after being on the receiving end of a strong challenge. He initially tried to play on but came off after 9 minutes of the goalless draw with what the Egyptian FA have described as a knee ligament bruise. Marmush has started City's last 2 games before the international break, but his injury could now make him a doubt for the fixture against United this week. The Blues begin a crucial week with the derby, before welcoming Napoli to the Etihad on Thursday and then travelling to Arsenal the following weekend. Marmush was set to undergo a scan in Cairo this morning after returning from Burkina Faso with his teammates. He will then be assessed by City's medical team on his return to Manchester. An Egyptian FA statement on X said Dr. Mohamed Abu El Ella, the doctor of Egypt's national football team, confirmed that Omar Marmush sustained a knee ligament bruise during today's match against Burkina Faso in the 8th round of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. The player will undergo scans upon his arrival in Cairo on Wednesday morning. Marmush signed for City from Eintracht Frankfurt for £59 million in January and has scored 8 goals in 28 appearances for the club. He has started the games against Tottenham and Brighton on the left wing, replacing Jeremy Doku in the team. His injury is the latest blow to hit City during the international break, with several players pulling out of camps with issues. Abdulkadir Kusanov missed Uzbekistan's internationals with a calf injury that was set to sideline him for 2 weeks, while John Stones trained with England but pulled out on Friday after struggling to overcome a minor muscle injury. Rico Lewis and Nico O'Reilly both withdrew from England under 21 duty, while Rayan Aït-Nouri didn't go away with Algeria. Pep Guardiola will hold his pre-United press conference on Friday, during which he will provide an update on his squad's fitness. Manchester City have 2 wildcard options to solve defensive doubts. Manchester City have struggled defensively this season, with some of their frailties from last year still on show. Manchester City's stuttering start to the season has raised more questions than answers around the Etihad. Successive defeats to Tottenham and Brighton have punctured the August optimism that flowed after a thumping 4-0 opening day win at Wolves. City are in the bottom half of the Premier League table and face a crunch week, with games against Manchester United and Arsenal next up in the top flight and a Champions League tie with Napoli sandwiched in between. Pep Guardiola is facing questions over whether his side can contribute enough goals to support Erling Haaland, while some of City's defensive frailties that were evident last term are still hampering the Blues this season. Injuries have not helped at the back, with Josko Gvardiol yet to feature, and Rayan Aït-Nouri forced off early in the defeat to Tottenham. Rico Lewis or Matheus Nunes doing enough to nail down that spot, while a lack of pace has also been exposed. With a new goalkeeper in Gianluigi Donnarumma now set to become first choice, with Ederson having departed for Fenerbahce, the City defence will have to adjust to a new starting stopper who brings a different skill set to the Brazilian. Donnarumma is unlikely to operate as far out of his goal as Ederson was, while his distribution is also not at the level of the 32-year-olds. It might see City adjust their shape, while it could also impact the selection thinking given the right-back issues and the relative lack of pace in the middle. Speaking on the Talking City podcast, MEN writer Alex James floated 2 potential solutions. "I'd be tempted to play Stones at right back, certainly against Arsenal," he said. "Because he can fill into midfield, as we've seen him do from that position before. He's probably a better one-on-one defender than Nunes and Lewis, and he gives you a bit more physicality and presence at set pieces, which Arsenal try and exploit. And I don't know if Donnarumma being in goal changes things, and we might see a bit more of Kusanov. It would be a big thing to throw Kusanov in, week out, but he's got pace. If City are going to carry on playing a high line, and Donnarumma is going to be 5 yards further back than Ederson was, and maybe less adept at doing what Ederson did in those scenarios, might you need a bit of pace in that back 4? Guardiola spoke after the defeat to Brighton about Kusanov's speed, saying against fast players, "With Kusa, he can handle it because he's so fast. Pace alone won't get you into this City side, but it would certainly help." Premier League manager safety rankings after Nuno becomes season's first sacking. Nuno Espirito Santo is the first Premier League manager to lose his job, and he will almost certainly be joined by others this season. As the likes of Graham Potter feel the heat, Nuno Espirito Santo has become the first managerial casualty of the season after he was axed by Nottingham Forest. His departure owing more to a breakdown in relationship with the owner rather than on pitch results. Nuno's decision to speak publicly about Evangelos Marinakis ultimately cost him despite his impressive exploits at the City ground. Several other men will be feeling the heat in the midst of the first international break of the season, which follows 3 Premier League games. It gives bosses a chance to take stock with some struggles already foreseen. Others, the likes of Manchester City, were not on the horizon. Rarely will a board panic this early, and any exits are often because of internal politics, Nottingham Forest a case in point. It is more likely that in a month changes may begin to be discussed, but poor results now will give a chairman something to think about going forward. Nuno will also be a man looking for a job and has shown how he can outperform resources, which could be senior figures on notice. We're still so early in the campaign, but managers know they do not have long shelf lives in this game and will be aware of how the pressure gauge is building, or not. We cast our eye over the 19 managers still in a job and discuss how safe their jobs are following their exploits to begin the season, and whether they have enough credit in the bank to consider themselves safe. Arne Slot is a man eyeing back-to-back titles, and after his summer of transfer activity, may well pull it off. His Liverpool team have the only perfect record left in the Premier League, and whilst he may not have the charisma of Jurgen Klopp, he could well be held in the same regard soon enough. His appointment was an inspired choice. He downed Mikel Arteta last time out, but the Arsenal board are steadfast in their belief in the Spaniard, hence the investment they've made in his squad. And whilst he's lost 2 out of 3, Pep Guardiola is an unsackable manager. He will leave Manchester City on his own terms and ultimately only has another 2 years on his deal with his legacy in English football already assured. Several other individuals are secure in their jobs, but the history of some of their hierarchies means they can never totally be calm. Enzo Maresca is building nicely at Chelsea, with their decision to pluck him out of the Championship currently paying off.